Okay, One Piece chapter 1189, titled King of the World, starts up with the reader request for the naughty monkey, see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. Of course, it's Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy. And I don't think I need to go into how each one is fitting for them, right? We all know how they're fitting in each way. As soon as I saw the Zoro monkey, I'm thinking of nothing happened, right? So, anyway, we go on into the chapter, and this chapter starts up right where the last one left off. And before I keep going in, let me just start off by saying everybody was wondering where exactly would this go from here? What direction would it take immediately? Would somebody come and help Luffy from, off of this sword? Would Imu just leave Luffy thinking he's dead? Would Luffy have a power boost and get himself out of the situation? I, for one, was leaning more towards somebody having to help him, because in my last chapter review, I specifically said, I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to see Oda having Luffy get stabbed multiple times right now and Imu going to execute him on the spot, and then somebody have to step in for that. I didn't see that happening, but it did happen, because I only didn't see it happening because Oda hasn't done anything like this in a long time. And I thought, even though I also say he can pull stuff out of his battle shonen bag whenever he feels like it, like he's doing now, I kind of underestimated how much he would pull out of his battle shonen bag, because he's kind of, stepping away from doing the typical battle shonen things, because he wants to make his story a more adventure-like story and so on and so forth, even though it's still a battle shonen, whatever. We're not talking about that here. But Luffy's getting stabbed up, okay? And he's impaled on a tree. Usopp senses it. Now, a lot of people think this is the awakening to Usopp Haki or something like that, but I think this is Oda kind of reminding us that Usopp has Haki in the first place, right? Maybe it is him, because he's expressing another side of Haki that we haven't exactly seen him do before. Maybe this is him kind of, expanding on the Haki he can use, right? Maybe that is happening in live time. He'll be more useful. But I think this is kind of more of a reminder, if anything. And yes, I'm not like completely ignoring the possibility that this is simply him awakening and tapping into a brand new power he's never had before. My point is, I think he's always had at least this ability, but he's never been doing anything with it, right? I think he's always had this potential. But anyway, even Nami, right? One day she might get that. But yeah, Jinbei goes on, talks about how their enemy defeated a giant like Loki, because Nami says, come on, it's Luffy, he's gonna be okay. He said, no, he defeated a giant like Loki, and I do sense Luffy's Haki getting lower. Okay, and we go back to the Princess Shuri in the ice cube, and Brook and everybody and Jinbei, they're seeing that she is thawing out. They don't want to heat her up too quick. Okay, you gotta heat her up gradually. And Brook is angry. In the other translation, he was definitely way more rude and angry. In this one, he's saying, hey, please don't interfere here. In the other one, he said, hey, back off, you piece of shit. He didn't say that part, but he said, hey, back off, get away. He didn't want the rat or the squirrel coming anywhere near Shuri, okay? He didn't want him interfering at all. And Harden and the crew are pulling up with Chopper, and I was wondering how Chopper would come into this scene into play, because Chopper needs to be here, it feels like, right? Luffy just got injured. There's no way that Luffy can survive in the state he is without getting patched up sometime soon. And Chopper might be the one. Usopp might lead the crew to go help Luffy or something like that, since they're all here. And we got Gerd flying to pillow Chopper, guard point Chopper, okay, all fluffy. Everything's all fluffy over there. And they all landed on Loki. Crash landed the ship into Loki's face. And he's bleeding even more because of that. And, Gerd is trying to patch him up and whatnot. Of course, Chopper gets a compliment from Gerd and does his, you can't butter me up, you jerk, and all that sort of stuff, right? But, yeah, he's all bloody, and Gerd is like taking attention to him. I don't know, Gerd might end up with Loki. I've seen people saying that. I see why they say it, but that's neither here or there. Anyway, Loki's like, yeah, I'm fucked up because you guys just crashed into me, okay? Harden is having a flashback, and I had a slight problem with this scene, because in the other translation, Harden was thinking about what what Ja Rule told him. And in the Viz translation, he says, if you're just going to fight Harden, and then in the other translation, he's, he kind of said, if you're gonna, like, what did he say? He said, if you're gonna make a stand somewhere where it matters or something like that. It was a little bit of a different intention. I feel like the Viz translation telling him, if you're just gonna fight, it's kind of like scolding him for fighting in the first place. Like, they're both kind of telling him to make himself useful, but one of them's doing it in more of like a rude way, it seems like. I don't know. It's just a slight difference. If you're just gonna fight, then go help Loki instead. Like what? Okay. Anyway, and he goes on to explain how the children are just a temporary goal because they plan to rule Elbaf in the first place, right? And Loki most likely knows who Emu is, and we're going to get into that more a little bit later. So Luffy's on the tree, and Emu's talking his stuff, okay? He's talking about how many blades will it take to end him, and yes, we were all right. The blade he stabbed him with drains life force, and in the Viz he says vitality. Same thing, depending on perspective, same thing, right? So he's draining his life force, and Luffy doesn't seem to shrivel up. That's a different thing. But he says, how many blades will it take? And Emu knows about Ace and Sabo for some reason. He's talking shit about Sabo and Ace. One brother slaughtered by the Navy, the other a prominent member within the Revolutionary Army. Now, I think what's happening here is it goes back into the one chapter, I guess before Emu arrived, when he was like kind of thinking, and he was having like flashbacks, or we saw images of what I thought could have been memories, but at the same time I said, no, there's no way these are memories, because Emu didn't witness these events in person, right? All these historical events that are lining up. When he was thinking of like Rocks and Shanks and Loki and Luffy and all these other characters and stuff like that, right? And Dragon and whatnot. I was thinking there's no way that these are his memories, because he's not there. And I had brought up the possibility of what if Emu was somehow watching from the darkness this whole time, or something, I don't know, with all this abyss stuff he has going on. What if that's the power of the abyss? He can watch from the shadows. That would be crazy, because he knows about Sabo and the Revolutionary Army. He probably knows about Dragon, right? And this made me think of that chapter, because that's when I thought Emu might possibly have the ability to, he's viewing people from the world this whole time, from the highest point in the world this whole time. He's viewing everybody's actions, okay? So he is kind of all-knowing in some sense. He can't see everything, but he's seen a lot. He knows a lot about people. Maybe he tapped into Luffy's memories. Who knows? So we go to the conversation with Loki and Shanks, and they're talking about how someone would have gone to the Holy Land. They're talking about how the Holy Land is it's a bigger problem, and it's not just the world government. You have to attack the king of the world, and Loki didn't know all of this. And I didn't like part of the translation here in Viz either, because Shanks kind of says, like, it's fine, no one will believe it anyway. And he says, if it was that easy, if it was possible to approach the Holy Land and attack the king in that way, someone else would have done it already. In the other translation, he says that someone once did get there. So it's kind of a difference. This one in Viz is kind of implying that no one has done this. And the other one, he's saying somebody literally has done this before. So it's like a difference in translation right there. But it was kind of weird seeing that. I don't know. And, Loki's like, he doesn't want to listen. But in the present day, he understands that this guy they're fighting right now is the king of the world. And I also kind of liked Harden's translation better in Viz, because he says, I've got no problem with your plan. He said, your plan is the plan of an idiot, but I've got no problem with it. Give me a chance to avenge my father too. In the other one, it's a little bit different. He still says your plan is stupid, and I have no problem with it. But the way he says that he'll fight his father's enemy, I have no objections. In this case, I'm going to take him down, our father's enemy. He's still including Loki, but he's kind of like talking like he wants to fight him on his own. I think Harden is about to fight him on his own, but I don't know. It just felt a little different. I don't know. Either way, I like that Harden has this resolve in the first place. Okay, I like it. And Brooke is yelling at Ragnarok again, or Ragnir again, and he's telling Brooke that I froze her because she's dangerous. Meanwhile, Robin pops up and she's telling Chopper to come to the library with exclamation points, okay? And in the other one, she says, hurry up or whatever, like come to the library quickly. In this, she's just saying it with exclamation points. So it might be hard to tell if it's urgent or not. But I think they found something out about Chopper and this devil fruit. Maybe, I don't know, because like what type of coincidence is this? People are dying and Chopper's a doctor, but you need him to come to the library? It's something you need him to understand about his devil fruit? I don't know, this is crazy. So we're gonna see what happens. So then Emu pulls this axe out of Town. I don't know if you know about him, the headless guy, right? I played him in Smite. Was it Smite? Yeah, I think it's that game. But you play with him in some games and you see him in different parts of Chinese mythology, whatever media you consume, right? Anyway, we go to see Cloudport, Western Village, okay? Summers versus Zoro. And Zoro is fighting a guy who doesn't really use sword techniques, it seems like. Like, people need to understand that might not matter. I don't think Oda cares about it, but I think there's a chance that it could come into play here. Zoro could win against him because he's a better, more honed and sharpened swordsman, and this guy just has raw power right now. I don't know. If Zoro loses, that would be surprising. So Summers goes into mention how the 19 kings that created the world, of course, you know, it's 19 because Nefertari clan, they left, right? They left the 20. There was 20 in the past. But the 19 kings who created the world, they put their swords in the throne room, those blades that we've been seeing the whole time. And I thought of a question like, okay, these blades, Oda's been depicting these blades and there's always been a couple of axes in there and there's never been a spear in that room. But does it mean that at some point when Oda depicted the throne room, did he have this idea in mind that the enemy would be summoning these blades? And I thought these were the blades from the past anyway. This is kind of what we all thought. We got it confirmed, right? It kind of seemed natural to assume this, and we got it confirmed finally. So he goes on to name the blades, and he talks about how each clan in the Celestial Dragons, obviously, because they're the descendants of the 19 people who made the world, there's probably, you know, there's most likely 19 Celestial Dragon clans. That means the blade that Mihawk is using, if he's a Celestial Dragon, is also one of the blades, but why does he have it? Who knows? Emu let him hold it, or he stole it on his own right. I don't know. But he says that Summer says the Emu brought them back. Okay, now that kind of makes me think that they were kind of gone, maybe. Or like he resurrected them to their full strength that they used to be, or something like that, maybe. I don't know. But he's flexing on Zoro, talking about how this is the power that conquered the world and there's nothing you could do. Okay, this blade from the Shepherd family, Graham, and then the Remo Shifu family, because Killingham was most likely giving Sanji the same speech at the same time. Longinus, Emu was most likely giving him, Luffy, the same speech too, because they're all kind of finishing the same sentiment. You know, thou should be honored to die by the weapons that created the world, is what Emu was saying before he tries to slash Luffy with the axe, doing what I thought he wouldn't do, and he clashes with Gabon. Now, Luffy, if you notice, Luffy is already set up. He's already in line to be out of this situation. Now, Gabon is most likely the one. If you notice, Luffy has been freed from this tree. The part of the tree that Luffy is pinned to has been cut. So the middle section of the tree is cut and is going to fall maybe down somewhere and roll off somewhere else or whatever. Maybe somebody goes in to save him and grab him. Maybe another giant Gabon's working with. He grabs the trunk that Luffy is attached to while Gabon holds off Emu. But it's a simple fact that maybe their class did it too, who knows? But it's a simple fact that Luffy has been freed from the tree. He's still attached to it, but the tree has been split in half, I should say. So Luffy's no longer in that same spot where Gabon is about to fight Emu, because he's the one who came in to save Luffy with his axes. And maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's on purpose that Emu pulls the axe out as soon as he runs into the Mountain Eater, who uses 2 axes. But that's it for me. Okay, I wanted to make this video a little quicker. Maybe I was talking a little faster, but I feel like I got all my points out and I had to wrap this video up a little faster. But if I missed anything that I wanted to add in. Oh yeah, I do want to add this in right now. The fact that Killingham is using a spear, okay? This goes back into what I failed to say, but what I've been thinking is the fact that Nika has been depicted with a spear and a sword. And we know that Luffy has the right wing and the left wing. And I think Luffy's current day, I guess, fucking, what's the word? Like the goddamn metaphor for his blade and spear are Zoro and Sanji. Because remember what Zeph told Sanji, he needs to have a spear in his heart. That's always been Sanji's thing, even though it hasn't been talked about in a long time. Zoro is just a sword, right? He's a blade man. Right? We already know what the deal is with him. So Sanji fighting a guy with a spear and Zoro fighting a guy with a sword is very fitting, because these are the two wings of the Pirate King. And, you know, Nika, left-hand weapon and right-hand weapon. They're going to have to fight up against this guy. This is a perfect matchup. Do I think Sanji's going to get a spear? No, but he's going to have to get that spear in his heart to fight this guy right now. He's probably going to think about Zeph to ignite his Conqueror's Haki or whatnot, however that's going to play out. But anyway, I'm out. Like I said, I'll add stuff in the comment section. I'll see y'all.